Yeah, we have to import a forms module. So go to here app module.ts. In app module.ts, we have to first import a module. Import. So from Angular @Angular / forms. From Angular forms, you have to import a forms module. And you have to register the forms module. Usually modules are registered in imports. Components are registered in declarations. Modules are registered in imports. Services are registered in providers. So here in imports, we have to register forms module. Okay. So forms module is ready. This forms module will provide you the model reference. That means model directive. So first, let's go to the TS file. Here, we need some reference for storing the data. We need some reference for storing the data. Storing the data coming from these controls. So first, I will create some properties here. So public, so name. And initially it is having some Samsung TV like this. Okay. Or you can keep it empty. Initially, I will just keep some value. Okay. Now another price is a number. Okay. And city is a string. So daily like this. And another is in stock is a boolean, so it will be true. These are the properties, so which contains data. In previous approach, how to bind the properties to those controls. Generally, to bind the properties to text box, we used a property binding. That means in the view, how to bind. I want to bind a name to this particular text box. Then I used like this. And here we are using value is equal to, I can access that name and I can use it. But you saw that this was handling only one-way binding. There is no two-way binding. So now we will not use this value. So instead of this, we will use a model directive. We will use a model directive. And how to define a model directive? In the square brace, you need to write parenthesis and define ng model. And its reference is tx name. That is how we have to do. Now, what does that means? ng model directive will bind this name to its to the input value by using a property binding. It will bind it to value. And if any change in the value occurred, an event will fire up. That event will update that value into this name. That is what actually the approach it follows. That is the approach it follows actually. That means what it is going to do here actually is, so it is going to get the data and bind to the control. That means usually what is happening here is whatever name is present, it is binded through property, it is binded to value. It is binded to value. And if any change occurred, if any change occurred, this event binding will update the change into this name. So that means previously it was only displaying, now it will update it. It will update it. That is what actually NG model is doing. That's the reason we use a square brace and a parenthesis. Parenthesis is for event binding, square brace is for property binding. Now observe here. So when I do this, you can see here, it is binded, fine. I want to display this name here in the details also. We will do that. Similarly, we will bind all of them. Now price. So we have to use a square brace. NG model is equal to price. Okay. Remember, there must be properties by this name so that it can get value from the property and bind the value. There must be property by that particular name. Okay. Now select here also NG model is equal to city. City is binded here. And for checkbox also, we use NG model and is in stock. Actually, checkboxes by default, dynamically they submit true or false. Dynamically they submit true or false. Drop down will submit its value. That means option value. Text box will submit its value. And a checkbox will submit true or false. If checked, it will submit true. So we binded them. And you see automatically all the data should be available here. Samsung, price, shipper to, is in stock. All the data is binded to those controls. Okay, let's display them here. Display them here. That means we are using those names in the details. I will keep here a data list, data term. So name. So name actually is present in a name reference. We can use a simple binding expression to display that name. Another price, and I can use a simple price to bind it. Another data term. This is a city, and I say shipper to, yeah, shipper to, and whatever present in city. So it should get that city. And another data term is in stock or simply stock. And here I will use